Namaskar to all of you. It's a great privilege for me to stand here once again in front of you. But first of all, I must congratulate Shubir Chakravarti. He spoke about Adivasis, and I just wanted to share a thought. Shubir, you may want to call them Janjati rather than Adivasi, and we can discuss that over dinner. Professor N. Jayaraman, you're such a motivation in the 8th decade, and you're still full of energy and giving us that very pithy 8-word guidance. Then, of course, Prabhat Besbarua. For us, you are not a quitter. So, I would love to call you Dr. Prabhat Besbarua. And you deserve none of the four of you has a right to say that do we really deserve this. You actually deserve this. The institute has a very transparent process by which they go through it. And actually every alum of ours is distinguished. It's not that they are not, but some of them are chosen for this. And so I would urge you to accept it. You deserve it. And of course, Ma'am Manjari Sharma, founder Farm Didi. It's an amazing step that you have taken by walking against the stream. It's very difficult to swim against the stream, but I hope many more will follow in your steps. And congratulations to your husband and to you for taking this very, very significant step, not just for yourself, but for millions of the Didis who take care of our rural households. I have this wonderful opportunity, so I think Prabhat said that he didn't prepare. For the last 4-5 years, I do prepare because I'm not from IIM Calcutta, but I believe that it is such an important privilege that I must say something which is sensible. And and let me share with you the trepidation, the feeling of uncertainty. With every passing year, this becomes more difficult because you don't have new things to say. So let me first of all welcome our honorable chief guest, Sudesh. Sudesh, welcome. Our distinguished alumnus awardees, honorable guests, members of the board. Sanjay is here. Sanjay, very welcome to you. Members of the IIM Calcutta faculty, those who could take your time, busy schedule and be here. Staff members, Chief Administrative Officer and his staff are here. Students who have taken the time and the effort to be here in spite of your very demanding academic schedules. It's really appreciated that you took this time off. It's a discipline which shows that you are different, and I'm so grateful for that. And of course, all those who are joining this session online via the internet, my pranams to you again. Now, over the past few days, I was weighed down in thinking about what would be an appropriate topic for the annual day talk. And given that Manish has given me a quota of 10 minutes, but Manish, probably I'll go over 10 minutes. And I don't plan to bore you or fatigue you guys. So they have allocated 10 minutes, and that further compounded the challenge of wanting to make the talk relevant and contemporary. And trust me, I had absolutely no idea who the Distinguished Alumni Awardees are and what you guys are going to be speaking. But as each one of you spoke, I felt easier because for some divine reason, there seems to be a coming together of thoughts. Maybe it's because we are in the same age group, or I don't know what it is. And I'm very pleased that it is coming together. So the topic I have chosen today is, in my view, pertinent and is impacted by forces that operate in the realm of human psychology. It would be incorrect on my part to want to dole out advice, but surely you will allow me to share my views based on my experiences. And of course, all of you are students of finance, so you are allowed to discount my views at a discount rate of your choosing. The last thing on my mind is to stir up a controversy, for then the messenger would have been shot and the message will be lost. So Do cut me some slack if there are points which you disagree with. I think agreeing to disagree is also a part of debate that we learn in institutes like IIM Calcutta. Now, for as long as organizations have existed, the elephant in the room has been the exploration of fundamentals that drive the relationship between the employee and the employer. And I wish to try to unpack some of these layers of this important relationship and try to dive to the core. Now, all organizations want talented people who deliver results. The human beings who work for an organization range from fresh recruits to seniors who are about to retire. And these humans conform to an organization structure based on their abilities and skills. So for me, the key words are human beings, talent, which is nothing but abilities and skills, and results. We will all agree that it is a set of motivated employees who are capable of delivering the best results. If so, then the fair question is, what factors motivate employees? These could be different for different people and different employees, but some factors are universal. As I dived into these issues, I wondered if it is possible for me to articulate in a nutshell the obligations of all human beings who make up an organization, all layers, from the trainee right to the chairman, and whether they are owners or they are employees. Can we encapsulate it in a nutshell? And if we could, then I believe I would have done my duty to all of you who are leaders and many of you potential leaders. Now, many years ago, as a 17-year-old, I was selected for the National Defense Academy Selection Board. And I at that time stumbled upon the motto inscribed at the Chetwood Hall of the Indian Military Academy at Dehradun. And ever since, although I'm not a member of the Indian Armed Forces, I have applied this to all my professional and personal endeavors. Allow me to borrow the Chetwood motto, which reads as follows: the safety, honor, and welfare of your country comes first, always, and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of the men you command comes next. Your own ease, comfort, and safety come last, always, and every time. Now, for those of us who are in the civilian life and work for organizations and institutions like, say, even IIM Calcutta, in the above motto, we can substitute country with organization, men with employees, and command with lead. And if you now reread the motto, it reads: the safety, honor, and welfare of your organization comes first, always, and every time. The honor, welfare, and comfort of your employees you lead comes next. Your own ease, comfort, and safety come last, always, and every time. Now, just a word on our armed forces before I go to the topic, because I borrowed this from them. Notwithstanding their raw valor, the adherence to this motto through the chain of command is also a factor in their ability for sustained motivation, leading to extraordinary acts of valor and sacrifice, both in peace and war, as is the lesser known fact that they have never been tasked to wage an unrighteous or an unethical war. So just keep this in mind, because we can learn good things from any field of endeavor. So if this motto was adhered to by every employee in an organization or an institute, from the chairperson, managing director, right down to the fresh trainee, can you imagine the synergy and motivation levels? It would be worth your while to remember this motto, and in the privacy of your hearts, you can check and validate for yourselves the various levels of your own organizations you work for, and see for yourself the adherence or lack of it. But check yourselves first before you start checking others. Now, check the goals set for you or by you. Are they unethical? Are they unrighteous? Now, they become unethical if your effort is not suitably recognized, and they are unrighteous if you're not suitably equipped to achieve these goals. These are serious matters that assail the hearts of every employee at every level in every organization and institute. But let me not leave you with this. Let me push the envelope a bit more using my own experiences. Over the years, as I progressed from trainee to managing director and then chairperson, I found myself considering the following motivation factors to be more critical than others. The first I would like to share with you is money and compensation. This is surely a very important motivator. But please note this. If only a few in the organization were to corner the bulk of the compensation and increments, will it enhance trust? Today's situation in many blue chip companies and organizations is such that the top rung leaders take home unethically large compensations, while the bulk of the employees are left with compensations and increments that do not even cover inflationary forces. Furthermore, such organizations then resort to declaring statistics for shareholders which try to claim, for example, average compensation rose by 8% year on year. Now, although the above statistics is factual and correct, the reality is actually hidden. Statistics, as many of Professor Shaibal is here, is a guru in statistics. They will tell you statistics is like the devil quoting the scriptures. You can make it do anything you want, So, do you get my drift, what I'm trying to tell you? If you go into the details, you will see that the bulk of the increase is generally cornered by the high compensation employees, leaving the vast majority with negligible or even 0% increments. Is this ethical, I ask myself? Can employees feel motivated in a situation like this? A sea of mistrust is the result. Shouldn't there be an attempt towards more equitable distribution of the wealth that was created? These are some questions that come to me. Furthermore, how important do you think are effective communications and selfless intentions to winning trust? It is the duty of the leader to effectively communicate. It is unwise to delegate such critical communications to others. But what when leaders are unable to effectively communicate? In my experience, a leader's inability to communicate effectively is always driven by situations where a leader is compelled to communicate views which are contrary to his conscience. Second point as a motivator, knowing the purpose of your work, no matter which organization, founders, institutions, wherever you go, you must know the purpose of your work. It's a very, very powerful and a key motivator. Now, but is this knowledge sufficient? In my experience, no, it isn't. Because as soon as you know the purpose of your work, it further unleashes questions in your heart, questions such as, are your goals ethical? Are they righteous? And as per my experience, the goals of an organization or goals an organization or a leader sets for its employees are ethical if the organization recognizes the work and compensates the employee honestly for the same. These goals are righteous if the employees are suitably empowered and equipped to achieve them. Example, with regular training and skill upgradation opportunities, adequate budgets, resources, etc. These are very wide-ranging words. Do not take them in the narrow sense of a budget or a resource. It could encompass a lot of things that go into delivering on what your goals are. This combination of ethical and righteous applies to employees at all levels, from the trainee to the managing director to the chairperson. Organizations that set unethical and unrighteous goals or expect unethical and unrighteous results progressively find it difficult to treat their employees in a righteous manner. And course correction becomes imperative for such organizations to be sustainable. The third point as a motivator, you must have fair and just appraisal systems. This is a very critical motivator. Appraisal systems, but let me tell you, while we talk about appraisal systems, many of you will understand, many of you would have experienced, and when you are parts of organizations, especially people with quant skills, there is this, I don't know, I don't have the right words, I should not say it, but let me say appraisal systems that use mathematical techniques to artificially fix quotas so that variable pay promised to employees against performance that adheres to business plan budgets are inherently unethical. It is not my intention for a moment to suggest that business plan budgets must not be adhered to. The stress is on fair and just appraisal, and budgets that adequately provide for this fairness is the stress. You cannot have a just, fair and appraisal system which cannot be met by the budgets you approve. So this is a conundrum which the leader must know how to balance. Organizations whose business models use mathematical techniques to artificially fix performance quotas will over time realize that unknowingly they have encouraged human leaders who are adept at ignoring their internal policemen. In my experience, such leaders tend to be insecure, and it will be in their nature to place their own ease and comfort and safety first, always and every time, at the cost of their teams. And when the time comes when they can no longer continue this act, they leave the organization and move to another pasture. Unbelievably, such leaders are in demand. Why? It beats me. The fourth motivating factor, do the leaders walk their talk? In my experience, employees are like children, they can smell hypocrisy. Leaders who remember the challenges they faced when they were lower in the hierarchy, and those who, after they have risen or in the organizational hierarchy, do everything to gain contemporary knowledge of the challenges that are being faced by their teams. They are the ones who can walk their talk, and it is such leaders that organizations and teams trust and follow. The fifth, the recruitment process. It may not be evident, but how an organization recruits its employees says a lot about it. Recruitment is the gateway. This is the process by which you select those who will join your family. Transparency of the process, dignity of the applicant, and adherence to your organizational promises made at the time of recruitment are for me keywords. No one likes it when they find out that their lack of organizational knowledge and rules at the time of recruitment was used to deny them their honest due. Further, once an organization selects a person, the success or failure of that person is also the responsibility of the organization and the team to which the person belongs. I urge you to review the motto articulated earlier, and you will see clearly that this responsibility is also of the organization. A nation's economy is built up of institutions and organizations. They are the backbone. Therefore, even in the face of uncertainties which can be driven by changing competitive landscapes, advances in technology, or even increase in customer skill sets, it is the sacred duty of institutions and organizations, whether public or private, to ensure that they safeguard the honor, welfare, and comfort of all the human beings who work for them. It was in post-World War II Japan that this philosophy of human engagement was so effectively used to rebuild a broken nation. Building a nation is hard work. It requires high productivity, which requires working long hours, working over and beyond stipulated hours. This over and beyond has a name. It's called overtime work. In Japan, this overtime work was honestly compensated. Further, organizations took care that no one person took the load. The entire team, including the leaders, shared the load in a manner that no one was unduly loaded for unduly long periods. Employees logged in serious overtime, but the load was cycled across employees and teams. As India grows economically, should organizations in India contemplate this? In my experience, this duty, this effort, it goes beyond any one organization. This effort is a continuous balancing act where the organization, its leaders, employees, shareholders, while the entire stakeholders must consciously and continuously strike a balance between revenue growth, management control, and profits. The entire industry ecosystem must do this. But the change must always start, and it always starts with one organization and her will to protect the honor, welfare, and comfort of the human beings they employ. This may not be immediately evident in a seller's market, as is the case with many of our Indian IT companies, which have operated till now in practically a seller's market due to an almost unending supply of cheap labor. But markets mature for various reasons. They do mature, and they mature from a seller's market to a buyer's market. Remember this: what your customers feel today, your employees will feel tomorrow, and what your employees feel tomorrow, your shareholders will feel thereafter. It's a matter of time. Thank you for your patience to allow me to share my experience and views adequately. Let me leave you to identify for yourself what are those factors that increase employee productivity in a sustained manner. The key is sustained high productivity. And from there, try and analyze for yourself what are the limits of a motivated employee and what must organizations do to safeguard these limits. As there is never any harm in repeating good things, let me assert again, the need for incorporating human values in management is being acutely felt by humanity today more than ever before. I believe IIM Calcutta should be the global leader in filling this gap. Thank you. Jai Hind.